Let me give y'all some statistics. Y'all don't mind? 70% of Christians admit to struggling with pornography. The poll results indicate 50% of all Christian men and 20% of all Christian women are addicted to pornography. You know why? Because it's something you can do in your closet that nobody knows about. And we can sit there and point our finger and say, look at them over there, laying down with everybody. We can hide in our closet. Because you know we like to do that undercover stuff as Christians, right? Amen? 72% say they use porn to masturbate for physical release. In other words, I just been locked up too long and I just got to let it go. 69% said that they masturbate to watch porn to sexually arouse themselves or others. 54% said they watch it because they're curious. 43% says because I can fantasize about things that I would not necessarily do in real life. They think? Because once that seed is planted, I'm telling you, you're going to do it. Huh? That's right. What did he say? Whatsoever a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Amen? In addition, 60% of women who answer the survey confessing, and these are all Christians. Let me just put this in there. These are all Christians. 60% of women who answer the survey confess having significant struggles with lust, and 40% admitted to being involved in sexual sin in the past year. In a survey over 500 Christian men at a men's retreat, over 90% admitted that they were feeling disconnected from God because of lust, porn, and fantasy that had taken a foothold in their life. That was me when I was about 14 years old. 14 years of age, I was so caught up in every kind of sex you could imagine, except for homosexuality. But I'm going to make that clear. But as a young man, I was caught up. You hear me? And I remember being at a men's retreat, and I remember feeling this guilt like you would not believe, because nobody knew my secret but me. And this preacher was there, and he was preaching about sexual sins and some of the other things, and he looked at me and he said, "Young man, can I pray for you?" And I was like, "No." And I wanted him to pray for me so much, because you know what, as a young man, I love God. I love being able to be in a place where I can feel his presence. I love being able to worship him. But I had this secret that was eating me alive, and it got to the point where I couldn't even feel the presence of God anymore, because this thing was choking me. But my pride kept me from getting prayed for. Hear me today. And that thing just led me down a path that was destructive. So on Facebook, y'all wondering why I'm preaching this. Somebody else can get freed, so they don't have to go down the path I went down. God be the glory. I want y'all to check this out, because this one blew my mind. They did a government study to see if they could finance abstinence, and if it'll work. And so what they said was, you know what? Let's go to the born-again Christians and let's poll them And this will allow us to know whether or not this will work. So, in the Barnon study, focused the attitude on born-again Christians in their 20s and 30s. The attitudes of these adults raise questions about the effectiveness of government fund programs telling young adults that premarital sex is bad. Nearly 60% of young adult Christians felt that unmarried cohabitation and premarital sex was okay. Born-again Christians saying, you know what, living together okay. Having sex before marriage is okay. And so the government said, well, if born-again Christians think this is okay, 60%, there's no way in the world we can put money into this thing to try to stop preaching against having sex before marriage. 55% of Christian young adults said that they had oral sex and did not consider oral sex to be sex. Now, this is one of those things. I'm going to talk about this right quick. Because this is how the devil usually get virgins. They usually tell a virgin, you know what? You can go down on your man because it ain't really sex. What did I tell you? It ain't really sex. So you can do that. And that way you don't have to worry about leaving him leaving you. Come on. And he can still be satisfied. That is a lie from the pit of hell. I'm here to tell you that right now. And it's a trap. I tell you, we read it before. You can never stop at one place. Only thing the enemy, he knows that he doesn't have the power to destroy you, so he got to try to outsmart you. He's got to get you to think that what he's trying to sell you is right, so that he can get you in a compromising situation. Amen. When I was living in Atlanta, and we were going to this church, and there was a female, very attractive female, and I knew she was feeling me. I knew she was feeling me. My wife said I knew too. And she invited me to her house so that I can look at her basement to be able to do some remodeling. On the time that her husband, at the time when her husband was at work. Now, I could have played dumb and act like I didn't know she was feeling me. Come on, somebody. And go over to the house, and you know what? If it just happens, it happens. Come on, because that's what we do. We try to play games with our own mind. But you know what I did? I said, come on, baby. We going to girlfriend's house. Amen. And we went to her house, and she knocked on the door. I knocked on the door, she opened the door, and she was like, oh, hi. And she wasn't expecting her. Amen. But we can't play games with our own mind. We know when that temptation is there and what we need to do to keep that temptation from destroying us. Amen? And so I'm here to say that, and I'm going to wrap the sex thing up, and then y'all can feel a little more comfortable. But I'm here to say, let me say this before I close out of this part. I was reading through when I was getting my statistics, and it surprised me. But there are born-again Christians who honestly say that they do not believe that premarital sex is wrong. Seriously. And so I want to make it perfectly clear. If you don't have a license, you're not allowed to drive. Amen? Come on, somebody. It's so important for you to understand that, because a lot of our women are giving it away like it's candy. Come on. I mean, seriously, 75% of the black household is absent of a husband. 75%. Some of those there's nothing they can do about it because some of us men never lived up to the standard. You know what I mean? But some of it is because we wanted to have that college experience or that high school experience, and now we got babies. Come on. Huh? It's important to understand that we have to give our children the best possible environment in which to grow. And so we got to do it God's way, because if we don't, I'm telling you, we're going to get trapped up in some stuff. Amen? Amen? Come on, people. We got to do it the right way. But Satan, when he looks at sex, he knows we see love, which sex ain't got nothing to do with love. Y'all know that? We see love, and we see all that, but Satan gets us to put our thing on. Then when we eat from that dish, what he's sowing in our spirit is death. Because he's saying, now I got them. They done opened themselves up. And the rest of this is just a cakewalk. Amen? And so we go from that to now we can get our drink on. Huh? We see Coors Light, just the beer, right? Just the brewski. Huh? That's what we see. You know what the devil sees? Beginning of the end. Many. Whew, I'm going to be able to get some real folk with this. You know the first time you drink beer, and I know a lot of y'all know, I'm just going to say it, but you know the first time you drink beer, it's nasty as I don't know what. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Everything that you partake of for the first time that comes from his table is nasty. And so we say this, you have to acquire a taste. You got to acquire a taste for this. I'm going to say it a little differently. Your spirit has to change to the point that it can accept. Once you get it down, you don't have no problem getting no other ones down. You know? And some of us say, well, you know what? I never drank the hard stuff. I only drank just the brew. Some say, well, you know what? I got a little wine. Because wine makes me feel sophisticated. After all, Jesus made wine. You know, that's one of our favorites, right? Isn't that what we say? And then somebody had a nerve to try to name it Christian Brothers. Yeah, right. You know, in Atlanta, when I used to go to get my liquor, we went to a place called the Spirit Store to buy spirits. Come on, somebody. And what we see here, let me see, we got Christian Brothers, we got some Southern Comfort, for the ladies who don't like the taste, we got some cherry lemon pina colada, peach schnapps, Seagram's gin. I'm going to say that one for last. E&J. Now, y'all know what they call this in the world? They even blaspheme with this. You know what they call this? They call it Easy Jesus. How many have heard that before? Oh, yeah. Captain Morgan. And some coconut pear. Now, this one's called Remy Martin, cognac. Let me say this. This one was one of the biggest liars, because this was me.